What's going on, guys? It's Kyle again with DTOM Knives and Gear, and today we get to look at the Custom Knife Factory Satori. This is the original one. Golly, this is so beautiful. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. All right. Woo! All right, first things first. This knife was provided to the channel by my such a sweet friend, Mr. Studfishing. Ryan has been a friend to the channel for a very long time, one of my first subscribers, and you will be hearing his name a lot lately because he sent me an epic box of knives, this being one of the ones that I was most excited about. Oh, okay. Custom Knife Factory Satori. Now, they do make a 2.0 version of this knife, which is a smaller version. Of course, you guys know me. I like the big ones. So this one is definitely up my alley. I will go ahead and say this. My buddy Jake over at Bearded Gear, he has gotten the 2.0 version of this knife. And so you definitely need to go check him out to see what videos he has up. I know he did the unboxing so far. By the time this video goes out, he might have already got them all done or just the first impressions, but definitely go check that out because he does great knife reviews anyway, and if you want to see the difference between the two. Oh boy. Okay, so yep, this is definitely a grail knife for most, and for me. Now, they also have a model called the Snafu, and that one also tickles my fancy. But this one, definitely a Peter Rossetti design, as we all know and love. This is an integral because Peter Rossetti is the master of integrals, titanium. As you can see, very nice stonewashed titanium on these handles that I absolutely love. It is so gorgeous and is really nice because it keeps like scratches and stuff away. It also has the stonewash on the the secondary bevels. Or I guess you would call these the primaries. Okay, I don't know. Of this knife, and then you have satin flats, and then more stonewashing up here. Absolutely gorgeous, and of course, just look at the blade shape. I mean, come on. This thing looks so badass. I absolutely love this blade shape. This primary grind right here is a slight hollow grind, and then you have this. I don't know if this is really called a tanto. It's a complex grind. I'll say that for what they've got going on here, but just absolutely gorgeous. It looks amazing. They really, really do such a great job. Now, this big, beautiful blade here is M390. The unfortunate part about this knife is that they only made like 200 of these. This one is number 65. Right there, and then there is Peter Rossetti's Maker's Mark. The collaboration with him and Custom Knife Factory is one to be amazed by because, damn. Now, like I said, when these things first came out, let me get some fingerprints off of here. I'm pretty sure these things ran around $600 or so. Now, that is definitely not going to be the case if you try to find one now on the secondary market. It will not be that price, but it is that good. Oh, I absolutely love this design, especially as an integral. I like the handle size. The ergonomics of this thing, the way it fits in my hand are just amazing. The jimping I love. The little swoop right here I love if I want to choke up on this thing. The only thing that would make this knife better ergonomically for me is if the sharpening troll reached out and was actually a forward finger troll, because that's just my personal preference when it comes to ergonomics on knives. But, excuse me, this knife doesn't need it. It would just be nice for me, but definitely fills the hand so well. The ergonomics in basically any grip that you put it in, the reverse grip is really, really nice. So yeah, I love it. The pocket clip on this thing is also very well done. This, titanium, all the hardware and the pocket clip are PVD coated, and they are like a stonewash PVD coated. So I really love that. I like the contrast between the black hardware and the stonewash titanium handles. To me, it just looks sexy as as hell. It's not flashy or anything like that. It just looks really good. Of course, these are not thumb studs. These are external blade stops, which, as you can see, stops right there in this little tiny area, but it makes up for a wonderful lockup. This thing is a bank vault, and the action, just once you pass that detent, is so drop shitty. Like, it's just an amazing action on this. I mean, one of the best. I'm telling you, it's... you know, we've done a review of this guy, which we'll break out right now, which is the 5th 23, which is also made by Custom Knife Factory. This one is the absolute most drop-shutting knife that I have ever had the privilege of handling. But, I mean, I'm talking guillotine. But this one is pretty close. It's not as drop shut as that, but I think a lot of people are going to like this more controlled drop shut from this knife than they will the guillotine over there. But that's all personal preference. I love this knife for an abundance of different reasons. Obviously, the size, the blade shape. I really enjoy the fact that this is a flipper and it flips really well. The detent is tuned very well for this big old blade to be able to get it out there. But one thing that really tickles my fancy is this fuller right here, which allows me to do the reverse finger flick, and that just puts it over the top. Oh, that is so much fun to do. This knife is so beautiful. When I did carry this, the friends that I work with who are knife people were just blown away, and for good reason. Now, let's go ahead. We talked about this being a big knife. It is about 9.21 inches long. It has a blade length of about 4 inches with a cutting edge of about 3.94. It really depends on where you're measuring because of the way the scales are. But like I said, M390 and stone washed. Let's go ahead and put it up against some other knives. Now, I have one Peter Rossetti design in my collection, which is the Paisan. The Spyderco Paisan. As you can see, this one is also an integral, much thinner of a knife. And I gotta be honest, I really prefer the bulkiness, which this is not bulky. It's still relatively thin, but it's bulkier in the hand than the Paisan. This almost feels too thin for my hand size. And one of the things that I really love about this, that I have a nitpick on the Paisan, is the lock bar it's a much thicker slab of titanium. So getting the lock bar out of the way on the Satori here is much easier than on the Paisan because it is just so thin right there. It's not a huge deal, but I prefer it 100% on the Satori there. But as you can see, definitely a bigger knife than the Paisan, which I do love that knife. Let's see, we have another integral here, courtesy of Mr. Stud Vision. Here it is against the Jack 2.0, which is also an integral and does have thicker handles. This one also has a review coming very soon. But as you can see, this being a big knife, the snafu is still much bigger than that. Let's see what else we got here. We have the Strider SMF, which is the larger of the knives from Strider. You have the SNG and then the SMF. This one is, the Satori is larger than that. So it should give you a good idea of how big this knife is. We'll just go ahead. Something else in the price range. Just because I love bringing this thing out. Here it is against the Koenig Arius. So yep, definitely a big knife. A lot of people will consider this to be a big knife. So if that's not your thing, then the 2.0 would probably be more to your liking. Now, because it's an integral and it's got, pretty thick slabs, it's not the lightest thing in the world. It weighs, close to like 7.3 ounces. So yeah, it's definitely not light, but it carries really well. I mean, you guys know that I have a bunch of big knives I just showed you. So I carry big knives, so the weights don't really bother me that much. The pocket clip worked really, really well. A lot of the times I get a little worried when the pocket clip goes onto the lock bar. This lock bar insert that we have on this also doubles as an over travel stop. So I don't really like the pocket clips, going onto the lock bar. I kind of wish they would swoop a little bit past here, but it doesn't seem to be a problem at all as far as, getting in the way of the drop shut action, as I can see, which is usually why I don't like that, but definitely done to perfection. So it doesn't get in the way. Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. Now, I have not taken this knife apart, obviously, because it is not mine. But, with integrals, guys, it's so simple. I mean, you have all PVD stonewashed hardware on this, which is really just the lock bar insert, which is done very well. I love that. And I love the fact that they put this on there because, with an integral, if you were to bend this back, it would be much harder to try to get this fixed with an integral than it would be, a traditional titanium frame lock. So the finishing is superb on this knife. You've got rounded and chamfered edges all the way around. I can even see inside, which is kind of hard for you to see, but inside this thing, the finish on the inside is also really well done, which means that I know they have very good machining properties and procedures to be able to make the finishing the way it needs to be. One thing I do also love about this knife is for lanyard people, they do include this hole here, or these two holes here, that will work for you to loop a lanyard around and it's out of the way. So very, very nice, nicely done. If you're going to do a lanyard hole, I really like that kind of lanyard hole, I guess, when they do it like this, instead of actually putting a hole in the scales. I think this is a much better way to do it. Anyway, I mean, this thing is sexy. I mean, it's the design. Peter Rizzenti is such a great designer, and this was a way for him to be able to bring his Satori model to the public, even though it was a limited run, which, man, I get why they do it, really, but then again, it pisses me off that these things are in such a low runs. I said the same thing about the 523, and I got some comments, and I get it, guys. I know why they do it, but golly, I know this. They would have sold way more than 200 models of this bad boy, but it is what it is, and they only made 200 pieces, which is fine. And Stud Fishing is freaking awesome at what he does as far as buy, sell, and trade, and was able to get this in his collection. And holy crap, am I excited for him? He's got a lot of knives that I consider to be grails. And so I want to be him so bad. But he's become such a good friend to let me have this in the hand and carry it and experience this beautiful piece of art. It really, really is. I just can't get over this blade shape. I'm not usually a funky blade shape kind of guy, but this is funky in a way, but useful and just wonderfully designed grinds on this knife that performs amazingly. I didn't do a lot of cutting with this because it's not my knife, but this really thin is behind the edge. Matter of fact, let's just go ahead and grab that because I don't think I wrote it down. This thing is about 20 thousandths behind the edge, so it is really nice and thin right here. It does get thicker if you are going to use this knife as far as a worker, so you don't have to worry about this tip being very dangly or, easily to be to break or anything like that, because it carries out with this swedge. Really, really nice. And then, of course, you've got this one area here to push down and cut along where it has this little area. I found it very useful. I mean, like I said, I didn't do much cutting with it, but on a piece of paper or label or something to be able to kind of control the knife and cut those things out. Really, really nice. So yeah, I mean, I'm not usually a fan of recurves, you guys know that, but this recurve is slight enough that I don't think it would be that big of a deal to go ahead and resharpen. It's just one of those things I kind of stay away from, which is the snafu. It does not have that recurve, so one of these days I might try to get my hands on the snafu and see which one I like the best, because this one definitely takes the cake as far as the overall aesthetics. This knife is just one big, beautiful beast, and I am going to regret having to send this back. But I know some other YouTubers who are probably going to be getting their hands on some of these knives from Stud Fishing, because Stud Fishing is such an awesome dude, and they're really excited about it. So guys, thank you so much for stopping by and checking it out with me. If you like this kind of stuff, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, because I do giveaways quite often. You'll be notified for that. And I really just love connecting with you guys, talking with you guys. You have been so wonderful. And then, of course, I am not monetized. So if you don't like ads, then definitely come back, because you will not find any ads on my channel, because I just don't want to do that. So I love you all. Please stay safe in this crazy world that we are living in, and we will see you in the next one.